president is turning this into a hyper-militarized, hyper-partisan event.
You still have anarchists. We've gone to some of these neighborhoods. What is the plan?
Possible tornado there again.
What did he say?
An airstrike hit a migrant detention center near Libya's capital, killing 53 people and injuring 130. Tripoli blamed strongman Khalifa Haftar, who's fought since April to overthrow its UN-backed government. The country's a major stopover for migrants heading to Europe, which is why the EU has funded and trained Libya's Coast Guard to detain them, stranding about 6,000 migrants in a civil war. A day after an independent watchdog detailed horrifying conditions at migrant detention centers near the border, a federal judge is blocking a Trump administration order that would have let asylum seekers be detained for months or years until their cases are heard. The policy would have blocked them from requesting a bail hearing, and Judge Marcia Peckman ruled that a constitutional right to due process protects migrants too. But the White House said the injunction is, quote, at war with the rule of law. Hong Kong police say they've arrested 12 people for their alleged roles in the most aggressive day of protests so far against a bill that would let suspected criminals be extradited to China. They were charged for a demonstration early Monday, and 14 more people were arrested for disrupting a pro-police meeting or doxing officers. A federal judge is denying a request for a retrial from the cartel leader known as El Chapo. His lawyers cited Vice News reporting that jurors violated a media blackout, but the judge ruled today the jury didn't appear to be swayed by what they read, and their misconduct likely didn't put an innocent man in jail because of the avalanche of evidence presented over an epic 3-month trial.
It all started with the tanks. No, not those tanks. We'll get to those later. I'm talking about these tanks, the ones that rumbled through Paris during France's 2017 Bastille Day parade, forging a vision in the mind of President Trump.
To a large extent, because of what I witnessed, we may do something like that on July 4th in Washington, down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Trump was serious. He told the Pentagon to plan a parade, only backing off when word got out that it would cost $92 million. But then he revived the idea of doing it on the 4th of July. The last president to do something like this was Nixon, and it didn't go well. There was tear gas involved and an overturned ice cream truck. This time, engineers worried that the tanks would damage the roads in the federal district. Democrats and Fox's token liberal accused Trump of turning a nonpartisan tradition into a political rally.
The presidency is not synonymous with patriotism.
It should be.
Trump pressed on despite comparisons from historians to Soviet Russia and China. And he got his tanks. This morning, military personnel offloaded them in front of the Lincoln Memorial. The traditional show, the one you watch on PBS because your kids are scared of real fireworks, will go on. It'll be as benign as ever, unless you have strong feelings about John Stamos.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Capitol 4th.
But across the National Mall, it'll be the Trump show. The tanks, flyovers, including one by Air Force One, a VIP section, a Trump speech framed by the Lincoln Memorial, and enough fireworks to power the next moon mission. The Park Service has already diverted $2.5 million for the event, but the White House won't say how much else will be spent. Whatever it is, the president promises it will be worth it. So yes, Trump blew up yet another presidential norm when he called in the cavalry. But the tanks aren't the innovation never-Trumpers should be sweating. On Monday, we learned that Trump is offering VIP tickets to Republican donors and staff, turning the Capitol 4th into a de facto campaign fundraiser. Rob Weissman is president of Public Citizen, a watchdog group, and a frequent Trump critic.
Well, the president is turning what was a traditional, relaxed fireworks show into a hyper-militarized, hyper-partisan event to advance the worst elements of his campaign and the worst elements of his presidency.
What should people be listening for that would sort of signal that he is being political tomorrow at this event?
The thing to watch for is whether he's talking like a candidate or whether he's speaking like a president, whether he evokes broad themes, whether he talks about American history, whether he talks about the challenges in front of the nation, or whether he talks about his success in beating Hillary Clinton, how he's going to beat up on the Democrats in 2020, what he's upset with Chuck Schumer about that last 5 minutes. Those kinds of things, which do come up in other presidential rallies he's had, those are obviously much more like a campaign event and much less like what we might expect out of a president of the United States.
Trump's fully in re-election mode, and he's using his first term to win a second one, just like Obama did and Bush before him. That's the power of incumbency. Trump's just happens to be powered by tanks.
When Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy was replaced by Brett Kavanaugh just before the court's new term started last October, pretty much everyone expected that the move would create an unassailable conservative majority and consign the 4 liberal justices to permanent minority status. But that didn't happen. Of the 17 5-4 or 5-3 decisions in which the 4 liberal justices voted together as a bloc, they won 10 cases. Last year, by contrast, that same liberal bloc only won 3 of 19 cases. In some cases, the liberal justices won by cobbling together temporary alliances. Justices Alito, Thomas, and Kavanaugh all voted with the liberal bloc once each. And Chief Justice Roberts, who likes to be in the majority so he can shape opinions, voted with them 3 times. But the biggest reason for liberals' success was, surprisingly, Neil Gorsuch, who had a well-deserved reputation as a hard-nosed conservative. Gorsuch voted with the liberal bloc twice to protect the rights of American Indian tribes. And he joined with liberals in 2 cases that protected criminal defendants from harsh sentences. In U.S. v. Davis, he ruled that a law imposing tougher penalties for crimes involving guns was unconstitutionally vague. And in U.S. v. Haymond, he held that it was unconstitutional for a judge to impose an additional sentence on a prisoner without a jury trial. The common thread that binds these decisions together is Gorsuch's libertarian bent, which makes him deeply skeptical of government power. And that suggests that going forward, he could be a reliable ally of liberals in criminal cases, since the criminal cases the court takes are often about setting limits to the state's authority. Still, liberals shouldn't breathe too big a sigh of relief. The conservative majority may have been more fractured than normal because the court shied away from ideologically polarized subjects like abortion and immigration this term. And in the biggest decision announced on the term's last day, all 5 conservatives voted together to allow partisan gerrymandering, which will bolster Republican power for decades to come. In Greece, Kyriakos Mitsotakis is leading the polls to become the next prime minister.
Είναι χαρά και τιμή μας που απόψε είναι μαζί μας ο πρόεδρος της Νέας Δημοκρατίας και αυριανός πρωθυπουργός Κυριάκος Μητσοτάκης. Και στις 7 Ιουλίου θα είμαστε νικητές. Δεν θα νικήσει η Νέα Δημοκρατία, θα νικήσει η Ελλάδα.
If his center-right New Democracy Party wins this Sunday, it'll mean a return to establishment politics. His own father was prime minister in the 1990s, and his win would go against Europe's drift toward populist leaders.
Έχεις και ωραία μπλε σιδεράκια, έτσι. Μια χαρά.
Greece itself may have reignited that trend with leaders like Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, who Mitsotakis is up against.
Τώρα που βγήκαμε από την κρίση πρέπει να σχεδιάσουμε το ποιο μοντέλο οικονομίας θέλουμε για την επόμενη μέρα. Και η αλήθεια είναι ότι δεν μπορούμε να θέλουμε το μοντέλο που μας οδήγησε στην κρίση. Θα ήταν λάθος να επιλέξουμε ξανά, να γυρίσουμε πίσω στο μοντέλο εκείνο. Αυτό το νέο μοντέλο είναι το μοντέλο μιας νέας οικονομίας.
The economy has rebounded since the 2010 debt crisis. And Mitsotakis says he has a plan that'll make companies flock to Greece and convince the EU to trust the country. Vice founder Shane Smith sat down with him.
You're inheriting a troublesome economic history. You have a lot of debt. How do you do tax cuts if we're still having all of that debt and low growth rates?
Well, the key challenge is to restore high growth rates, where over the past 4 years with the current government, we've essentially had anemic growth. Why was that the case? Because there was no focus on changing the underlying structure of the economy, attracting investment, investing in productivity, investing in innovation. If the economy grows faster, our creditors are going to be happy because the debt is going to be repaid more easily.
Because of the high unemployment rate, especially for young people, you've had a brain drain. You've had a lot of young people leave Greece. How do you get them back to have these good jobs so you can increase your economic growth?
It all starts with companies investing and creating jobs. Hence, we have to really convince everyone that the crisis really is over and that the long-term potential of the country is very, very positive.
You still have anarchists. We've gone to some of these neighborhoods. You still have these groups. What is the plan to solve these problems and not go back to extreme politics?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we saw the rise of extremism in Greece sort of before it emerged in the rest of Europe. Essentially, we were ahead of the curve. Mm-hmm. What's happening now is very, very interesting. I think society realized that electing populists into power is not a solution to underlying economic problems. So essentially what is happening is a pendulum is swinging in the opposite direction. We are a moderate center-right liberal party. And I trust Greek society to be mature enough to understand that after 4 years of populism, we need to try something different.
Νιώθουμε μεγάλη συγκίνηση γιατί πολλοί από εμάς 30 χρόνια πριν ήμασταν εδώ και υποδεχτήκαμε τον καλύτερο αρχηγό της Νέας Δημοκρατίας, τον Πρωθυπουργό, τον πατέρα του, τον Αγίου Μητσοτάκη του Άρου.
Και πρέπει να σου πω ότι είμαι και πολύ συγκινημένος που 30 χρόνια μετά τα έφερε έτσι η ζωή να βαδίζω στα βήματα του Κωνσταντίνου Μητσοτάκη.
With Brexit now happening, if there's another economic crisis, God forbid, what do you see the future of the EU being, and is the EU successful in its current political state?
The EU has been an incredible experiment in voluntarily granting sovereignty to a supranational entity. In an integrated world where we have on the one hand the US, on the other hand you have China, we need a strong European Union. We're too small. So we need the European Union to be able to punch above its weight. Do we need to find the right balance between sovereignty and decisions taken at the European level? Yes, but this doesn't mean that we need to tear up the EU.
All right, round them up, rock and roll. Let's go. This is our tornado song.
Bill Reed is what you might call a tornado whisperer. For the past 2 decades, he's been hired by Tempest Tours, a storm-chasing tourism company. These people go on vacation to look for shitty weather.
Tornado watch issued at 12:30 Mountain. So we want to stay in front of it. And then when it looks like it might be in tornado making mode, we'll go in for the kill.
Every year from late April to July, thrill seekers descend upon Tornado Alley. Tempest Tours takes 200 tornado tourists a season who pay up to $4,000 just to see a twister up close.
Now it's really starting to rotate.
Come on.
See that? You might get a spin up right over here.
Or not. Seeing a tornado isn't always guaranteed. So, going against my instincts for survival, we jumped in the van and took our chances.
Oh man, what have I got myself into?
Adrienne, Dave, Mike, and Kelly. I'm getting my mind ready.
Now you're inspiring me.
What inspired you guys to do this in the first place?
I'm an adrenaline junkie. I go around the world and do just things that normal people want to do. So.
Yeah. I've been obsessed with storms since I was a little kid, so.
Yeah, same.
This was always a dream of mine, and I didn't even know you could do it. And one day, I think I saw on TV or something about you can pay people to go out and do that. And I booked the next day. It's like a weird little fetish, you know, everyone's got their little thing. We want to get close.
Like how close?
I'll say if a tornado was cheese, I want to stick my cracker in it. That type of close.
That's your fetish coming out again, that is.
Yeah, right.
And you came all the way from the UK. You and your muscles traveled all the way from the UK.
Well, it's my third time, but I'm the only one out of everyone that hasn't seen tornado. I missed last year, and I was gutted. There's no point in getting my hopes up anymore.
It might seem empty out here in the middle of nowhere, but during peak season for storm chasing, these clouds can draw crowds, and those crowds can cause problems. What is it like for you in terms of traffic management with storm chasers running around looking for these things?
So the biggest thing is we just still continue doing what we do on a daily basis, making sure that everybody's being safe.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change any of the factors when it comes to traffic laws.
Are these storm chasers ever a headache?
So I'm not going to answer that question. So, all right.
2019 has been a pretty good year for storm chasing, with a record number of twisters touching down across the country.
Okay, that southwestern cell we're going at is tornado warned based on radar indicated rotation.
Just about half an hour ago, it looked like a picnic day. Sunny weather, a few clouds in the sky. Now I'm looking out the window and it's fairly ominous. And the anticipation in the van has increased significantly because my good new friends back here are excited that this supercell may turn into a tornado. I'd be interested to know what your friends think about you
When
going
they think
out.
about this,
Yeah,
they will not go with me on this. I mean, I don't think they know what to think about this. Like, I think they think it's a little crazy. Like, why would you pay to go see some severe weather?
How much do you pay for this?
That's a lot. This tour is $2,700. Ooh.
This one is kind of wimping out.
Oh no.
We can keep an eye on it, but we gotta stay in position for this one, so let's go. We'll back out of here.
It's time to go.
See, here we go.
Turn left on this road and stop briefly. Copy.
The price of the tour doesn't include food, and choose your liquids wisely, because bathroom breaks, they're few and far between. But when the chase is on, none of that matters. Bill, it's really close.
Let's keep going.
We getting back in? Well, Bill said this is not enough activity, which seems like a lot to me, but we're getting back in the van and heading east to follow this. That's what we've been doing all day. We get in the van, out the van. So I think we may be out of the van for a while this time. I can feel the anticipation. This might be it.
This could be it. You might be my good lucky charm, Hauser.
I mean, look at all the cars.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm surprised how many people will be out and about hunting down this stuff.
Possible tornado there again.
What did he say?
Possible tornado.
Guys, let's go. We'll get a better view.
He said, let's go.
Rock and
Did you
roll.
hear him? I heard
Now.
him. You gotta tell me twice.
Hustle up.
We are not moving fast enough.
Let's go.
What exactly do you get out of this experience altogether?
This, as much as it's mental out here, I feel quite like happy and peaceful, like out in the elements and stuff.
Yeah. If you come here, this is your third time and not seen a tornado, do you feel like you've been cheated?
Well, if I don't see a tornado, I'll be a bit gutted and I think it's myself. I'll just be like, right, you're just hiding from me or something, you know what I mean? Look, you seen this lightning that's going off right now?
Look at this, man.
It's scary, isn't it?
You're damn right it's scary. You love it every second of this.
I do know.
You're looking for storms.
Yep.
Storms that cause death and destruction.
Yeah, we're looking for tornadoes and storms that have big hail and strong winds and cause damage.
And we're out here wanting to see it. So is it a bit weird to have a desire to see something that you know could bring harm to a lot of people?
You could say it's weird, but I don't think it's dumb or unusual or stupid. If you want to see a volcano erupt, I think that would be pretty cool. We're not going to change it by standing there and watching, so it's just part of watching nature.
After driving for 3 days through 4 states and 1,100 miles, we didn't see a single tornado. Such is the fickle life of a storm chaser. But the day after we left, Dave finally got what he came for.
This is massive! Through my eyes, this is huge. And yeah, it's worth it.